My girlfriend cheated on me, and I predicted it. She cheated. It finally happened and I knew it and even predicted it. Hello Reddit, I'm at a loss for words and have zero feelings inside of me. But first a little context for you. My M24 girlfriend, F23, is not willing to let people out of her life. This is totally understandable, to a certain degree, but in my opinion, people who are interested in sex and their body should not be allowed to play a role or influence in their life as long as she is in a relationship. We are now almost 2 years couple, yay. We actually have a beautiful story of how we got together. All signs were green, no one had anything to complain about, and everything was good. This held until about 4 weeks ago. There are 3 people who try again and again to duck my girlfriend, one sometimes more, the other less. To be honest, there are only 2, one has left the country. One of them is her ex-boyfriend, they had a long-distance relationship for almost 1.5 years. She also cheated on him back then. The other one is the "don't worry about him" guy. He has tried the hardest so far to get her around. I think they ducked but she won't tell me. And last, we have the one who left the country. He regularly invited her to suck him off. Maybe he ducked her too, I guess. As you can probably guess, it was of course not one of the 2 fun guys, but as so often, the ex-boyfriend. The setting was a birthday party in their hometown. There was drinking and dancing and more importantly, cheating. I often told her, if he gets the chance, he'll do it, he won't have a guilty conscience afterward, but you won't have any more luck with me. He had the chance and also used it. She couldn't even remember it, which of course makes the reasons for her behavior impossible to comprehend. He had to tell her the next day, of course after he brought her home. Everything else, cheating, still took place at the party. Our relationship is at best broken, I don't trust her. It's not the first incident, she often lies about some details to cover up what exactly happened. She argues she would do it to protect me because in my previous relationship I had to experience how my then girlfriend was ducked by 3 men at once. Also, 2.5 years were thrown away. We are still a couple to this day, but I don't know if I'm not playing a trick on myself. Although I predicted exactly what and when it would happen, I'm just a man myself and nowadays there's no respect for other people's happiness anyway, no one should be better off than you. I don't know what to do. Tomorrow, I'm going to ruin his life. I have been with him for 3 years now. We planned on getting married when our lives settle down. I wanted to start a family with him, I loved him more than anyone else in this world. I've sacrificed so much for him, moved away from my home, turned down jobs so I could stay with him, and stood by his side as he started to go back to school. I gave him my world. And he cheats on me. I found out over a month ago. The scumbag got cocky, and I found out he was cheating on me, with 2 different women. One is a TA at his university, and the other is his best friend's girlfriend. I am livid. I write this post choking back venom. I loved him so much. He was my world, but now he will be the world I burn to nothing but ash. I pay for everything since he quit his job last year to go to school. I was more than happy to help him. I make enough to support us both. The only upside is the student loans are in his name with no connection to me. It will hurt to push the scumbag out to sea, but I will survive. I have held out for a month, enough time to create what I call the day his world burns. Tomorrow we are hosting a party. I arranged for his family to come, but my family will sadly not be able to make it. I have packed everything valuable already, and the suitcase is in the back of my car. My brother will come during the event tomorrow, to take the car that is in my name that the dirtbag drives to my parents' house. The joint account, which is all my money anyway, is already empty. The event will be great, and he thinks it's for us to announce our engagement to his family. What will happen in reality is I will announce my departure from his life. I have already taken a job out of state and have lined up a new place to live. I will start by telling everyone what he is into. The screenshots of him asking his friend's girlfriend to piss on him, and the many other fantasies his degenerate mind came up with will be passed around. I will hand him the notice to vacate, as I have already broken our lease. We need to be out by the end of the month. I will then end off by informing him I have already reported he was sleeping with the TA for one of his classes the previous semester at the university and that I am sad I won't see the fallout from that. His friend also has a message for him that I will deliver, informing him that his friend group never wants to see him again as well. And with that, I will leave. I will not look back. I will set his life on fire and walk away. 2 hours, and over 5K upvoted. I should have expected my story and planned to get popular. I will update once all is said and done. Update. I do not know why the post got removed. Don't ask me because I don't care. Here it is. They say that hubris is the downfall of man. Yesterday, I planned to ruin his life in front of his entire family. I worked for a month to create the scenario that would cut him the deepest. I had patiently waited for the chance to storm out of his world in a blaze of glory. And then I hit the front page of Reddit. I realized I had ducked up when he was not answering my texts and had not shown up hours after he told me he would be home. I had hoped it was a happy accident, literally a car killing him before I had the chance. But no. I don't know how many men in the world are currently cheating on their soon-to-be fiancé with their best friend's girlfriend and a ta. However, the one who mattered in my plan found my Reddit post. I called his mother and found out that he had run home to his parents. He told them we had a fight and that we were probably through. I was, and still am, livid at myself. His mother asked me what had happened as he left out a few details. So, I told her he was cheating on me with a ta and his friend's girlfriend. I soon heard shouting, before she hung up. I texted my ex that he had until morning to return my ducking car before I reported it stolen and sent the screenshots of all his texts to his parents and siblings. My car was sitting in my driveway when I woke up. I contemplated sending the screenshots anyway, but his mother sent me a heartfelt text yesterday apologizing for her son's actions, and I feel they deserve to be spared from his degenerate actions. I and my father will be moving all my stuff today, and I won't be coming back after that. I know you'll be reading this, you cheating duck. You're a cowardly piece of crap. Just know I am not above sending out all the screenshots if you ever dare to come back into my life. Oh, and your ex-friends all know about your piss and scat fetish. I can't control what they do with that information, so good luck with that. I slept with my girlfriend's mom 2 years ago. I can't tell her because I know she'll dump me, and it'll probably end her parents' marriage. So let me first just say, I'm not the one in the wrong for this, but I have to say it somewhere. It's eating me alive. 2 years ago, when I was 19, I met this woman while I was working as a personal trainer. She was in her 40s and looked like a 25-year-old. She took an interest in me and invited me out a number of times, and we had sex a few times. After one of our meetups, she said it was wrong for someone of her age to be with me because I was too young and changed gyms. My girlfriend and I have been together for just under a year. She's amazing and I love her so much. 2 months ago, I met her family for the first time, and it was a shock. Like, she took me to the house where I had hooked up with a woman and I felt like I was being pranked. Before I see her mom, it hits me. I have a type and they both fit that type, so it makes sense. I've been hooking up with a single mom and I'm now with her daughter. Then her mom and dad pop out and we both almost crap ourselves. I meet her parents, they've been married for 20 years. I realize I had been a married woman's boy toy, and I feel incredibly ashamed. Later that week her mom finds my number and tells me that I can never speak of what happened. She says that my girlfriend will hate me forever because I'll be the one who broke up with her parents. So now I'm stuck keeping this secret. She invited me to spend Thanksgiving with her family, and since my family is 1,000 miles away and I already told her I don't plan on going home, I don't really have an excuse to not go. So now I'm going to have to sit there at a table and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with the woman I had an affair with, her husband, and her daughter whom I am now in love with. I'm ducked. I installed a camera in the living room and caught my husband making out with the babysitter. I have been having suspicions for almost 4 months since I hired this 17-year-old babysitter for my 3-year-old daughter. I'm a nurse working full-time while he works 3 nights a week and comes home to sleep during the day. I felt I was going crazy because something was off, and he refused to ease my mind and answer questions I had. So I put a camera in the living room and saw nothing till day 4 when he and the babysitter were making out on the couch behind my daughter's back while she was watching TV. I felt like my entire world came crashing to the ground. I felt all kinds of negative feelings, including guilt, even though I just wanted to keep my job, when he complained about me pushing him to the side. He started crying when confronted and tried to get me to listen, but I took my daughter and went to stay with mom. It's been a whole month now. The babysitter is gone and he's still crying about his slip-up, even went as far as say the babysitter was the one initiating. I feel like I'm done with him after this. He managed to make me feel guilty for not dressing up or giving him enough attention. Now I do strongly believe I bear part of the blame for what happened. I feel disgusted and my mind and heart keep racing not knowing how to deal with all of this. He's begging for a second chance and his family is defending him against me. I forgot to mention our ages. I'm 31 and he's 34. My wife gave me chlamydia. I am livid. The only person I have had sex with within the past 5 years has been my wife. I thought I had a bladder infection or UTI and scoffed when my doctor thought it was chlamydia. Well, here we are. I got the test results yesterday and I have chlamydia. Decided to start snooping and it didn't take long to find the text messages between her and her boy toy. My guess is she doesn't even know she had it as well. She thinks I stayed up all night working, but little does she know I've already emailed her little lover boy's wife all the text messages. I warned the lover boy's wife that he's been sleeping with an infected woman and to get herself tested. I'm still deciding how to process this all, but wifey's going to wake up to my positive test results and the messages of her infidelity. The sun should be coming up in the next hour or two, and probably will be the end of this marriage. I'll make a longer update eventually. I didn't confront her that morning. Boy toy's wife ended up responding to me and she has not confronted her husband yet either. I'm getting my legal bases covered first. They're not my kids and not my problem. About a month ago, I found out that both of my children were the results of my soon-to-be ex-wife's affairs. I've had a feeling for a while now that both of them were not mine. 6 years ago, when my son was born, I was the happiest I had been in my entire life. I had married my best friend, we had a child together, and everything seemed amazing. That was until he started getting older. After a few years, I started to have doubts that he was actually mine. He did not look like my child. The more he started to grow, the more I realized just how different he looked compared to what I would expect a child of mine to look like. I am not petty or paranoid enough to let that alone drive me. It was my bitch of a wife that really set my alarms off. Whenever she went out, she never went where she said she did. She would have huge holes in her schedule she could never explain to me. She would refuse to allow me to interact with anyone from her workplace, and a close friend of hers accused her of flirting with her S.O. at the time. It did not help that soon after our son was born, her lies started to catch up with her. Still, though, I loved her like the fool I was. She told me up and down how much she loved me whenever one of her lies caught up with her. She had convinced me that despite the fact she was a lying and manipulative woman, she wasn't a lying manipulative bitch. Last year, she got pregnant again, and I still held out a small bit of hope that it was mine. But when her daughter was born, it was obvious she was mixed race. I refused to sign the birth certificate, and the paternity test I demanded afterward proved my suspicions right all along. Neither of them is mine. The day I got those test results were the day I filed for divorce from that bitch and walked away from the family I had created. I knew that it would destroy her son's life to see me walk out. Despite my concerns, I was the best dad I could be to him. I loved him with all my heart and put in 110% into being the father he deserved. Now though, when I see him, I am filled with disgust. Disgust for my bitch of a wife, disgust with myself for not trusting my instincts, and disgust that the last 6 years of my life have been for nothing. I have been told by multiple people now that I am a monster for leaving my son like this. My ex has tried on multiple occasions since I moved out to use him to guilt me into getting back with her. She will have him call me at random hours of the night crying and begging for his daddy to come back. The day I moved out, she paraded him into the room as I packed my things to show me how much damage I am doing. In every conversation that he has brought up, both online and off, I am berated and shamed. That despite the fact I am not the boy's biological father, I am his dad. What I have sadly now realized is that, to most, my own feelings mean nothing. My parents are my only supporters through all this, with my own siblings calling me a despicable person for abandoning a child like that. My feelings of betrayal and sadness mean nothing because a child is involved. I know it is not his fault. I know that the man he called his father for his entire life just walked away, but why am I expected to man up? Why should I have to pretend everything is fine and I do not feel contempt for this entire situation? Why should I put my own life and feelings aside? I never was the boy's father, I loved him like one and honestly still do. But I would come to hate and contempt him if I had to play that role. Hate me for not standing up and taking my own life back into my own hands. He is not my child, and even though it is not his fault, he is not my problem anymore. Edit. Wow, this post certainly blew up. Guess airing my dirty laundry accomplished something. Anyway, I've seen a few common questions, so I'll just answer them here. 1. Her son knows the truth about why I left. I sat down and told him that I am not his father and that his mother lied to me and cheated on me. I made it clear I am not mad at him, that it is not his fault this is happening, and no matter what I will still think he was an amazing kid. 2. Some are saying that I never loved him or was always looking for a way out. It's hard to convey emotions in a text post like this, and even harder to allow vitriolic hatred towards your bitch of a wife to decontextualize the last 6 years of your life. You can believe what you want though. 3. I have a lawyer, and I'm not going to be paying child support or alimony. Last though, for those who say I should stay in her son's life and be his father. That's not realistically possible. I do not hate him, but I have been cheated on, lied to, and used by a vile self-centered bitch who has now caught her children up in her lies and deceit. He is a casualty of her actions, and blameless. However, it can never change the fact of the harsh reality we find ourselves in. I don't hate him. I feel so sad when I think about how he feels. But all I see when I look at him is 6 years of my life I was lied to. 6 years of my life I was used. And 6 long years of built-up doubts and frustrations with a woman who used me. There is no putting aside my hatred to try and be in his life because the life I lived with him was nothing more than a facade cultivated by his mother. This is the harsh reality I find myself dealing with, and I simply cannot in good faith put myself or him through it anymore. Edit 2. Since I am seeing many armchair lawyers in the comments saying this post is fake on grounds of what I said above. I will not reveal what state I live in, but I am currently going through a fun legal process called the disestablishment of paternity. Won't shut up 90% of you who think Google makes you a lawyer, but at least I tried. Edit 3. This is going to be my last edit before I move on from this small little distraction I created for myself. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words to me. In the comments, the DMs, and the chat. You have given me a bright day for the first time in a while. I wish I could reply to all of you, but I cannot thank you enough. Secondly, I have noticed many people criticizing the word I used very profusely to describe my soon-to-be ex. I want to just say, the place I am now is one of the darkest I have been in my life. I see nothing but white-hot rage for the woman who ruined my life. Is what I said inappropriate? Is the word I used to describe her dehumanizing and vile? Yes, I will admit that, but I won't apologize for it. What I wrote here today was the truth of the world as it is for me right now. It is the raw, unadulterated stream of consciousness of a flawed man. I do not intend to try and get people to hate women, or to push some misogynistic message about how women are terrible. That is not my goal here, and that is not the message of this post. I understand why people do not like the word I used here, and you know what, I accept that as a valid criticism of what I did here today. I came here today to simply find some outlet for the situation I find myself in. To rant, mourn, and deal with the complex and raw emotions that have torn me apart for the last month. A place where I can freely speak my mind. And you know what, I did that. Today was pretty alright thanks to you guys. Again, to everyone who showed me love and support, thank you from the bottom of my flawed heart. To those who came here disagreeing with me but showed me respect, thank you as well. After the shame and ridicule I face in my real life, the respect you showed me despite your disagreement was nice. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
Like and subscribe for more ducking content.